Hello everyone, this is ACHAIA Akaya bringing you the finals for the Zotac Cup number 6, and this is going to be a game between Goody and Crybaby. I do apologize for not having more of the round of 8 in the semifinals. Once again, the replay pack that was given to me apparently only had the games following Goody from the semifinals all the way up to the finals. So in the future, if I do any more tournament casts like this, I will do my best to try to get a hold of all the games. That way we can fill the gaps here that we're missing for this particular tournament. But anyways, this is going to be a Terran versus Protoss on the map Lost Temple. Of course, the red Terran here spawning up at the top, this is going to be Crybaby. And at the bottom here, the blue Protoss, Goody once again, who seems to be the unstoppable Protoss that nobody can stand up against. And it looks like Crybaby going to be doing a pretty typical opening, doing the supply depot right at his entrance, probably going to wall off with one more barracks and another supply depot, as is very, very typical on ramps that or I'm sorry, on these maps that have an opening, a small opening at these ramps here. And it looks like he's going to send that first SCV out to scout. And Goody has already scouted the middle right base, so he is aware that that Crybaby's not over there, and it looks like he is going to be heading up to Crybaby's base next. So he is going to find Crybaby on his second base, and of course this barracks just going down, so the wall not going to be complete with the supply depot before Goody is able to get his probe up into that base. And it looks like the probe going to try to pick off this SCV here, doing a little bit of damage. And again, you have to be careful with your SCVs now, because they don't take quite the beating that they used to in StarCraft 1, because they now only have 45 hit points with one of the recent patches. And Goody again looping back, possibly trying to get some more damage in on this SCV, knowing that it is low on health, down to 10 hit points now. If he can get a couple more shots off on that SCV, he can take it down. I don't know if he's going to be able to get it or not. This could be pretty close. And another SCV coming out to finish off the barracks, so that that SCV that is severely injured can go back to the safety of the mineral line. Although it looks like Crybaby, or I'm sorry, Goody rather, is going to back off. So not going to be able to take that SCV out. The barracks just now finishing, and I imagine that we will see another supply depot going down here shortly. And meanwhile, Crybaby does have an SCV inside Goody's base, so he's going to get to see his tech tree right now, which basically consists of a gateway and a cybernetics core. Now, one thing to note is that he has got one gas, not two. This has been his pretty much standard opener for every game that I've seen him play in this tournament so far. So I don't know if the other players have been able to watch as Goody has played through. I don't know if Crybaby's been allowed to watch Goody's games, or Goody's been allowed to watch Crybaby's games up until this point in the tournament. But if Crybaby has been watching his games, he will be very well prepared, because he will know exactly what Goody's going to do, because he always opens the exact same way. So very consistent player. Meanwhile, Crybaby has walled off his base. He has the tech lab now, so probably going to be getting some Marauders here shortly, because Marauders are very, very effective against early game Protoss. So and it looks like one Zealot moving out on the map, although he is going to back off. And actually Crybaby putting down a very early expansion here, so starting that command center out at his natural and building one Marauder now. He does, of course, have the orbital command back at his main, so he's able to produce those mules, which will aid greatly on increasing the income of his minerals, because they, of course, return 30 minerals per trip. And I believe, I can't remember if the exact numbers, but I think it was around 300 minerals for the lifespan of a mule. So mules, for 50 energy, you can basically get an extra 300 minerals over a minute or so. So those are very, very useful. And of course, this Marauder, with the slowing effect of the concussion grenades, are going to be able to stop that probe from getting up in there. And at this point, Goody has not seen this expansion yet, so he is going to be unaware of what's going on. Coming back down to his base, he does have an early robotics facility, going to be getting a observer out, which is pretty common against the Terran, because since Terrans like to do this heavy wall off, because once again in StarCraft 2 you can lower your supply depots into the ground, effectively creating a gate at your ramp, so you can wall off and keep your enemy from getting in there easily, but at the same time you can lower the supply depot and get out of your base easily whenever you need to. But anyways, that being said, the Protoss players typically try to get out an early observer, because that allows them to scout the Terran player to their heart's extent. And of course Goody at this point throwing down his own natural expansion. Taking a look at Goody's first person view here, floating around a little bit, he's getting ready to throw down a pylon, it looks like. And this match is it's a pretty tough matchup from my experience, Protoss versus Terran early game. just because if you can't get up into your enemy's base, you obviously don't have a whole lot of scouting information. Although he is getting the observer out there now, and the problem is if they go heavy marauders, they can steamroll your zealot stalker army pretty quickly. On the other hand, if you don't scout them and they end up going with a later tech like banshees, and you don't have any kind of detection to deal with it if they have cloak, that can also leave you in a bad position. So that again just demonstrating how important it is to scout in StarCraft. And as you can see, Goody has finally discovered the expansion out at the front of Crybaby's base, so he's going to be aware. He does have one immortal out right now, which immortals are very, very effective against infantry units. I'm going to flip over to Crybaby's view here. Crybaby is aware of those units moving out from Goody's base because he of course does have these 2 watchtowers in the middle, having to back off from the first one that he has. He is trying to macro up a bit of an army here, and right now you can see that he is basically flicking through all of his hotkeys, trying to macro up a bit of an army, and he does have a decent amount of marauders right now. So and it looks like that force from Goody is not going to be pushing any further up on the map, and